What is going on, wrestling fans? Welcome back to Rantin Review, the Rantin Review, I should say, pro wrestling. We are doing a quick audio video today about some of the news that's been going on in the world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. I may be actually watching Monday Night Raw from the other night, at least the Hulu version of it, because I heard it was good. The big news coming out of that is Big E is now the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, winning by cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase against Bobby Lashley, following Lashley's main event world title defense against Randy Orton last night. So I'll be checking that out, and I'll probably, depends on how good it is, I might do a review later on. A lot of people have been speculating, though, that a lot of the reason why this past Monday Night Raw show, there was a lot of effort finally put into it, was because of football. Other people speculate because it was of AEW. Two things that I would rather watch more than WWE. I'm obviously I'm from Baltimore, so I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, so I got to depressingly watch that overtime loss Monday night. But yeah, there's a bunch of conjecture about it. I think it's because of AEW, to be honest with you. I mean, I think other people pointed out, it's like, well, wait a minute, they changed the show, you know, within the last couple of days. They knew Monday Night Football was starting this week for, you know, over a year since the NFL released a schedule. So it's not like this is a new thing. It's not like the Ravens and the Raiders was an exceptionally, Lamar Jackson is a draw, definitely, the quarterback for my team, the Ravens, because he's just a dynamic player. But I don't think that's the reason why. They changed it, ironically enough, after the ratings came out last week, where AEW Dynamite finally in the key demographic beat Monday Night Raw, which I thought was going to happen eventually, and it has happened. And I think it's only a matter of time before those numbers go elsewhere. We'll see what Raw's ratings come in total for last night, but I think they'll definitely win this week in the demographics too against AEW Dynamite. It was you can't say it's a hotshot show. It's just a show that it seems like they said, okay, we need to do something to shake things up and get some interest and do something exciting instead of coasting the way we've been coasting. So putting on Randy Orton and Bobby Lashley in the main event for a world championship match, having Big E end the night with that victory, and apparently a lot of other stuff that happened on the show was appealing. The crowd was into it. So, you know, again, WWE can do well. This is the reason why I'm not big on the company, because we know they can do this kind of stuff all the time. They just choose not to. So why would you continue to, you know, this is the problem. This is the issue I have, is like, why would I, if I know somebody can do something better and I see that they're not trying and they're giving a half-ass effort because they think I'm just going to watch anyway. No, I'm not. You got to win me back. You got to put on something worth watching. I'm not just going to watch Monday Night Raw because it's Monday Night Raw on WWE. I know a lot of people do that, but not me. Unfortunately, one person who was left out of this was Samoa Joe, who with an injury is relinquishing the NXT Championship. I assume that's going to be on tonight with the reboot of NXT, with this weird looking new logo they have. I guess NXT is going to be less aggressive and more pop culture-y. Now, there's been a lot of thought about this. I have said that even though I'm going to miss the NXT that I was enjoying from 2014 up until earlier this year, it makes sense for what NXT is supposed to be, because there was this disconnect that NXT was kind of like WWE's version of the Indies. It was supposed to be a developmental brand to get ready people to go up to the main roster. But what they sent up to the main roster, even though it worked at NXT, it didn't even have a chance on the main roster, because the main roster people look at what you send up to NXT, whether it's the Ascension or the Revival, or like 95% of everybody they sit up there and go, well, wait a minute, this isn't a Randy Orton clone. This isn't the next John Cena. What are you doing here? Get rid of these guys. This is wrestling stuff. We don't want wrestling stuff. We want sports entertainers. So if NXT is going back to, or going to, being a place where they're just going to, you know, try to cultivate big muscular guys and ultra attractive movie matinee star looking people, and a lot of blondes and women with fake breasts and whatever it is, if that's what they're going to do, then fine. If they're going to try to cultivate more mic workers, I might actually enjoy that a little bit more. If they've got more people who are focused on doing more interviews and stuff like that, yeah, absolutely. It makes more sense for WWE for NXT, if that's what it's supposed to be, to use that show to cultivate people who are going to be on the main roster, as opposed to having a show, as much as I loved NXT, having a show that is WWE's version of the Indies. And I think that's the take that they're going to take on in WWE corporate right now. Is like, well, it hasn't produced stars for the main roster, it's produced stars for the indie guys. And now we got this AEW thing that is actually doing that 20 times better. Well, not 20 times better, but they're getting more clout. They're getting more fandom from what AEW is doing. They did what NXT was supposed to be doing, but they did it better. And they got a larger audience for doing it. So we're going to focus on what we do well, which I think is a good move for WWE, is to focus on what they do well. If that's what they do, promote big, aesthetically pleasing looking people, as opposed to doing pro wrestling, and they're doing sports entertainment, then that makes sense for them. And we'll have those 6 years of NXT available on Peacock that we can go back and watch and enjoy. It was a great time. It's a lot of content there. So if you miss the old NXT, I'd go back and start watching some of the weekly episodes circa 2014, and there's a lot of that stuff we probably haven't watched more than once. And you might watch it and go, oh, God, remember when Enzo Amore and Big Cass and Carmelo were like a cool thing? You might be able to do that. So one of the other things that I see now is that AEW has released, speaking of AEW, they released the promo that they're having a Thanksgiving Eve show at Chicago again. And if you immediately look at their Facebook page, there are a bunch of fans. I almost said something else. There are a bunch of people who just are trouncing them. Oh, you're back in Chicago again. Oh, there's more than just Chicago. Oh, when are you coming here? Well, but the biggest thing was on the poster, on the graphic, it's CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, and Ruby Soho, and a bunch of people complaining that it's a bunch of former WWE pieces. See, it's WCW 2.0. See, it's just like TNA. See, they were supposed to be promoting young stars, and now they're just promoting the WWE people. Calm down, people. Calm down. This is why none of these people are running a successful wrestling company. In fact, it's probably why most of these people, when you look at their profiles, none of them are running anything at all. Period. They're leave. This is kind of the problem with social media, is everybody thinks they're an expert in everything. There have been two people who have been able to successfully compete. Well, it's three really, who've been able to successfully compete with Vince McMahon since he took over WWE. Jim Crockett and Dusty Rhodes, as I'll count that as a whole, one entity, let's say it that way. Eric Bischoff and Tony Khan. Unless you are Dusty Rhodes, Jim Crockett, God bless their souls, rest in peace, they've both passed away, or Eric Bischoff, or Tony Khan, I'm not taking your criticism as anything to listen to. Like, there are a bunch of wrestling people, from Vince Russo to Jim Cornette to Dixie Carter to Jeff Jarrett and so on and so forth, and I'll even throw in my beloved Gato and New Japan, who've tried to compete with the WWE and have not been able to do so. And Tony Khan has done something with All Elite Wrestling that I'm not going to sit here and go, well, he's put a bunch of former WWE people on the poster. There's a bunch of the people that are on that poster. Number one, three of those guys came from Ring of Honor, to be quite honest with you, and got popular there before they were popular in WWE. Beyond that, the four people that are on that poster are who's trending right now. See, this is how you do marketing. If you're running a company the size of AEW, you take what's trending and you go with it. It's how you do YouTube videos. It would be like complaining about people who are covering AEW not putting Jungle Boy on their thumbnail, but they're putting CM Punk and Bryan Danielson and Ruby Soho and Adam Cole on their thumbnails for the AEW videos. Why are they doing that? Because that's what's trending. Because they know that's what people want to talk about and are interested in regarding AEW right now. So you're going to lead with that because that's called advertising. You want people to actually pay attention to your stuff. Yeah, sure, they could put Orange Cassidy and MJF and Chris Jericho on there, but they're not the ones trending right now. It's Ruby Soho, it's Bryan Danielson, it's CM Punk, it's Adam Cole. People need to calm down because y'all don't know what you're talking about. Boy, as far as New Japan is concerned, I was going to try to get some guests on for my G1 primer that's going to be coming out later this week. I think schedules are conflicting because it's not like it used to be these days. So I will be doing my G1 primer later this week. It's been really hard to kind of get a grasp on what's going on with the G1. They're really kind of rushing into it, so I'm a little bit concerned about the booking for it. But it's still a G1, so it's still going to be fun as hell. And for the next month, we are going to be covering the G1 Climax here on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. It's one of my most watched video segments or stories or streams or collections or whatever you want to call it throughout every single year. So we'll definitely be doing it again. And despite the fact that, half of the roster is not in the G1 and there's no big special surprise guest this year, it's still the G1 tournament. It's still exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing it and to seeing, can you build a new star out of this? Keep in mind, Kenny Omega was built. My opinion, Kenny Omega became popular to me personally because of his run in the G1. That's what started him off. And I don't think a lot of people had pegged him to win that G1 Climax that year. We have a lot of, I think for me, Jay White's first really great match in New Japan was his match against Kota Ibushi in the finals a couple years ago. So the G1 is definitely newsworthy and noteworthy. And if you're a wrestling fan who enjoys sports, especially if you're a wrestling fan who also enjoys legitimate playoff sports like the Final Four, I say this every single year, like the Final Four or the NBA Finals or the Stanley Cup or the World Series or the NFL playoffs or anything like that, then the G1 is like Christmas for you. You get a playoff atmosphere along with pro wrestling. It's the only thing to its level, because there's a lot of round robin tournaments. A lot of the other Japanese promotions have tournaments similar to it, but the G1 has kind of stood out as being the top of them all. So definitely want to check it out. As for anything else, I will be back on camera later this week, and I will have more videos and updates for you guys here on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Don't forget, of course, if you're new to my channel, check down in the description box below. I got a lot of free goodies. 30-day free trials of Amazon, free trial of Audible. You can get 2 free stocks from Webull. I think right now each of them could be worth up to $2,300. So you're basically getting free money out of it. I think the minimum is like $10 or whatever. So you're getting free money out of that. You can also get a free stock from Robinhood, free crypto from BlockFi or Celsius, all kinds of free stuff in the description box below. So definitely check it out when you get a chance. And until then, I'll see you guys here for more news, rumors, and commentary here on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.